You know the classic startup playbook, right? A founder has a brilliant idea, they pitch their heart out, they get some funding, and then, well, they just hope for the best. But what if that entire playbook, the one we've been using for decades, is fundamentally broken? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty massive shift in how companies are not just being funded, but actually built from the ground up.
And this question, man, it really cuts right to the heart of the problem. We hear all the time about the unicorns, right? The massive, splashy successes. But you know what? They are the exception, not the rule. The reality for most new ventures is, well, it's a whole lot different.
And wow, this slide really just lays it all out there. The numbers they're pretty brutal. A staggering 80% of private companies fail to ever reach an exit. Think about that. That means for every 5 startups that get funded, 4 of them won't return a dime to their investors, let alone make a profit. That failure rate is just enormous, and it begs the question, why is this happening?
So here's the thing, and this is really the key. The problem isn't a shortage of creativity. It's not that we're running out of good ideas. The real bottleneck, the real reason for that insane 80% failure rate, seems to lie in the very system that's supposed to be supporting these companies. So to really get what's happening now, we've got to take a step back and see how we got here. And there's no better way to do that than by tracing the journey of one group that's been in the trenches for over 40 years, the Ritz Group. So the Ritz Group started out as what they call V1.0. Think of it as a pretty high-end networking club, connecting influential people at exclusive events. Then, around 2012, they evolved into V2.0, where they got much more active, running pitch events and angel clubs to directly connect creativity to capital. And that was a huge step, but it also uncovered a much, much deeper problem.
And all that work, all those connections, it led to this one huge realization. Just handing a founder a check and wishing them luck wasn't cutting it. It turns out that just having access to money doesn't mean that money is going to be used effectively to build a successful company.
And that realization pointed to 2 massive structural problems in the whole system. First, there's illiquidity. Your money's locked up for years, which isn't very attractive. But the really big one, the company killer, is execution failure. Most startups don't die because the idea was bad. No, they die because of things like mismanaging cash flow, not having experienced leadership, or just plain old poor financial discipline.
Okay, so if the old playbook of just connecting founders to cash is busted, what's next? Well, that brings us to the new standard, the venture studio model. And it's designed specifically to attack those twin problems of illiquidity and execution failure head-on.
So what in the world is a venture studio? You can think of it as a fundamental mindset shift. It's moving away from being a passive matchmaker and becoming an active co-founder. A venture studio literally gets its hands dirty, co-creating and co-building companies right alongside the entrepreneurs, from day one all the way to a successful exit.
Okay, and this table, I love this because it makes the difference so incredibly clear. On one side, you've got accelerators. Their role, mentoring. Their engagement, a few months. Their goal, get you pitch ready. Now look at the venture studio. The role is co-building and operating. The engagement is continuous from start to finish. And the goal isn't just a good pitch. It's a repeatable, timely exit. It's a whole different ballgame.
All right, so that's the what. But how does this machine actually work? How does it all come together? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the core components that make this whole thing tick.
It really boils down to a 3-part engine. First, you embed experienced operators directly into the startup. Second, you provide a whole shared infrastructure of tools and services. And third, you align all the capital with clear performance-based goals.
Let's start with the people, because this is huge. These aren't mentors who just pop in for a weekly coffee chat. We're talking about venture partners. These are seasoned execs, people who've often had multiple successful exits themselves. They get embedded in the company, and here's the key. Their pay is tied directly to the company's success through equity. Everyone is pulling in the exact same direction.
And this quote just nails it. This isn't about giving some friendly advice from the sidelines. It's about taking on real shared responsibility for hitting targets, for managing that cash flow, and for making those tough operational calls. They have actual skin in the game.
Next up, the infrastructure. This is like giving a brand new startup a set of superpowers they could never afford on their own. We're talking about tools like the Capital Drill for super rigorous financial modeling, an AI film studio to create slick professional pitches, and even an AI-powered matchmaking platform to connect founders with the perfect partners and investors. This just massively de-risks the execution side of things. And this right here,
This might be the secret sauce that holds it all together. It's a totally different philosophy. Instead of just building a cool product and hoping an exit happens someday, the venture studio starts with the end in mind. The goal is a profitable exit, let's say in 5 years or less. Then they reverse engineer the entire company building process to hit that specific target.
So, we've gone through the problem, we've seen the solution, but let's zoom out. What does this all really mean? What's the big takeaway for all the founders and investors watching this?
Well, here's why it matters. If you're a founder, it means you're not going it alone. You get a real co-builder who helps reduce that terrifying risk of failure. If you're an investor, it means your money is being used way more efficiently, with a much clearer and faster path to getting a return. And for the market as a whole, it starts to create a system for building valuable companies that's actually predictable.
At the end of the day, what the venture studio model is really trying to do is this: to take early-stage investing, which for so long has felt like a high-risk, speculative art form, and turn it into more of a managed science, one that's focused on engineering predictable, successful outcomes.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating kind of provocative question to chew on. You know, if building a truly successful company now requires this deep operational team right from day one, does that mean we're seeing the end of that romantic idea of the lone genius founder building an empire from their garage? It's definitely something to think about as this new model starts to take hold.